excited to dive right into today's show. We're going to be going over these specific medications and drugs that drain your energy and damage your mitochondria. Whether it's you or a family member taking these, remember, they start to catch up with you really quick, usually 2 to 3 weeks of being on the medication, and they can get progressively worse month after month and year after year. So much so that when you've been on the medications maybe for 6 months to a year, you start to feel fatigued, you start to feel the brain fog, you start to feel the exhaustion. It's more difficult to walk upstairs, it's more difficult to recover from a workout, but you don't always attribute it to the medication or the drugs, and the reason is you've been on them now for months. And usually we think, well, if it was going to happen, it would have happened within days. It's not always how it works. It sometimes takes weeks and months to damage the mitochondria, to create so much inflammation or free radical damage, something called reactive oxygen species from these medications, that your mitochondria don't regenerate, something called mitochondrial biogenesis. And so your body is not able to produce the same amount of energy. But the other interesting thing about the mitochondria is that it's not just about producing energy, right? When we hear about the mitochondria, we always hear about this thing called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And that's great for short bursts of energy, walking up the stairs, doing your everyday activities, no doubt about it, okay? It is important for that. But your mitochondria also help to balance inflammation. And so if they're weakened by medication and your body then is not able to balance inflammation in the same healthy way, you're going to feel exhausted in both body and brain. So over the next 3 weeks, what I want to do is share with you 3 specific episodes, 1 per week, on the mitochondria. First one, medications you may be on or your family members that are making them exhausted in both mind and body, okay? The second one, or next week's, I'm going to start to go into different ways to improve the mitochondria. And the third, I'm going to go over a specific diet that was built to regenerate, to create mitochondrial biogenesis in order to rebuild mitochondria no matter what state you're at. So I am not, as I'm about to go over the list with you right now, I'm not telling you to get off of these medications. I can't give you medical advice or medical treatment plans. What I want you to think about is this. Figure out the underlying root cause as to why you have the autoimmune issues, the mood-based issues, the allergies, the asthma, any of the things that I'm about to go over right now, okay? Because there's always an underlying root cause. It's heavy metals, it's gut issues, candida, bacterial overgrowth, might be parasites, it might be viral based. There's all sorts of different reasons. But when you're able to figure that out, you rebalance the body at a foundational level. And when you do that, you can't have a dis-ease of the body. And then you can begin to work with your medical doctor to begin to wean yourself off of those medications, all right? So let's dive right in. I have 2 lists for you. One from my private practice that I always shared with my private clients. I'm going to go over that first. It's basically a top 10 list. And then I'm going to go over one actually from conventional medicine, because it's not me just talking negatively about conventional medicine. Conventional medicine says the same thing. The problem with conventional medicine is they don't know how to get you well. They do know how to mask the symptoms, but they don't know how to get you well. We'll teach you in the Cabral concept how to heal, how to get well once and for all. Okay, let's go over the list right now. All of these detrimentally impact the mitochondrial function. This is from my list. It's going to be similar, but I'll give you both. Okay, the first one is this, antibiotics. First and foremost, I've met with so many people in my practice with long COVID, long haulers, whatever you'd like to refer to it as. It's typically referred to because we've known this for decades. This isn't just something new. It's called post-viral inflammatory syndrome, right? This isn't just from COVID. This is from Epstein-Barr virus. This is from certain herpes-based viruses. This is from, like, again, I know mono is typically from Epstein-Barr, but these are a lot of the viruses that we may get. Lyme disease, you can have this as well. So it's a post-viral inflammatory syndrome. The problem is many of these are treated with antibiotics. Take Lyme disease, for instance, often given doxycycline. Okay, well, that absolutely can kill certain bacteria, no doubt about it, but it can also destroy many of your mitochondria. So if you have less mitochondria, you produce less energy. So now people feel exhausted and worn out, and they still think that they have Lyme, or they think it's the symptoms of Lyme, but oftentimes it's from the 1 month or 2 months of doxycycline they get put on. Always remember that, all right? Antibiotics can absolutely decimate your mitochondria. The second one is this, cancer-based treatments. Some, like chemotherapy, can wipe out your mitochondria. Next is statins. So here's the interesting thing. We put people, not me, but conventional medicine, put people on statin drugs. The statin drug is meant to make a healthy heart. It's basically help your heart and cardiovascular system, right? So you don't have high levels of cholesterol. Here's the issue though. Your heart has the greatest amount of mitochondria. So if you look at it like per cell, how you want to look at this in terms of cardiac tissue, it can literally have up to 5,000 mitochondria, and statins begin to wipe them out. So no, you might not die from occluded arteries with cholesterol or plaque. However, and that doesn't affect everybody, we've talked about that on the show, but you can actually die from a weak heart from taking statins. You can look that up. You can look up all the different damage that can be caused by statins. Okay, the next one, aspirin. So common everyday aspirin that's prescribed can weaken the mitochondria. Acetaminophen, also called Tylenol, right? So salicylic acid as aspirin and acetaminophen as Tylenol can weaken those mitochondria. Next one is anti-diabetic medications such as metformin. And we have so many people out there talking about metformin for longevity. But we have to understand is that there is no silver bullet. There's no magic pill to live longer, because everything we put in our body, at least from a pharmaceutical standpoint, has a chemical reaction and it has some type of side effect. One of those side effects could be positive in terms of better regulating blood sugar, but there are negatives. And one of those negatives is actually weakening the mitochondria. That's clinically proven. I know that people say, well, just don't use it on your workout days, etc. You have to understand is the body, the days that it's working out with strength training, great, it's breaking down tissue, but the days you're not strength training, it's helping to repair and build up. So again, we want to be careful with kind of how we're thinking. Maybe it might turn out in the future, great to use metformin once a week, twice a week, maybe not daily in terms of longevity. But right now, again, it's used as a diabetic-based medication, type 2 diabetic, etc. And we have to be careful of it for non-diabetics. Okay, the next one is psychiatric medications, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. They can make you fatigued in both mind and body. Many different reasons why. One of them is mitochondria. The second is different class, not SSRIs, but they are antipsychotic-based medications. You will know if you've been prescribed one. And again, just saying, there's a time and place for everything. And I want to be sensitive to that. So you may need it for a couple weeks or a couple months as you're going through therapy, whatever you need. I get it. I understand. But just understand that there can also be repercussions on your overall energy. And when you have low energy, you typically don't feel good, like mood-wise either. If I'm low energy, if I'm exhausted, my mood's not the best. So I want us to at least think about the whole picture in totality, holistically, how we want to improve our health. The last one that I have on my list is antihistamines and allergy-based medication. So you take things like Benadryl, etc. They can wipe you out energy-wise, literally wipe you out, make you exhausted. In my teenage years, I was on Benadryl. Early 20s, I was on Benadryl. I had debilitating allergies. I would take Benadryl at night to basically fall asleep, help with my allergies, and I would take Sudafed during the day to wake up. It was a terrible way to live. That is what conventional medicine gave me. Basically, wake me up in the day with Sudafed, put me to bed at night with antihistamines like Benadryl. I don't want that for you. There is an underlying root cause. I no longer have the allergies I did as a child, teenager, and into my early 20s once I figured out the underlying root cause, which for me was heavy metals as well as gut-based issues. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one's directly from conventional medicine. Let's see the overlap. My list is from back in the day, over 10 years ago. Let's see what conventional medicine says. There's being updated just about 3 months ago. Okay, so, and I'll link up to these at stevencabral.com. let's see, StephenCabral.com, $29.58. The 9 medications and drugs that drain your energy and damage your mitochondria. All right, so you can check them out there. And I'll also link up a specific lab called the Stress, Mood, and Metabolism Test to look at your cortisol levels for energy. And I'll link up another one that looks at heavy metals and your electrolytes. Okay, that's called the Minerals and Metals Test. So let's take a look at this right now. First on their list is antihistamines. Okay, we mentioned that. Antidepressants, we talked about that on my list. Anti-anxiolytics. So those are, I always say, these are all the ones that end in PAM, or AM. So if you have medications that you've been on or you've been prescribed, a lot of those are going to, like a Xanax, right, is going to, although that's Alprazolam or something like that. So I'm not going to give you the conventional medicine pronunciation there, but you can look up on your medications and actually see if they're anti-anxiolytics as well. So although, again, can be useful for reducing anxiety, but that is not the goal. The goal is to say, why do I have anxiety in the first place? Why is this coming up? What could be triggering it in both previous trauma, but also inside the body as well? Because we know that our gut, we know that our enteric nervous system, we know that inside of our body is actually connected to the brain. And so that gut-brain connection can cause anxiety, can cause low mood, vitamin deficiencies, B vitamin deficiencies, etc. One of the best ways to find your vitamin and mineral deficiencies, run something called the starter kit. You can do it right at home. Hair sample, urine sample, you get all your results within 3 weeks. You can find that at StephenCabral.com/starter-kit for exactly what we use. Okay, blood pressure medications. Let's see here. Atenolol is one of the more prominent one that's used. There are many others. Okay, so blood pressure medications, I didn't name that on my list. That's good that we have that there. Cancer-based treatments. We talked about that, specifically chemotherapy. Gut-based medications, so anti-nausea-based pills. Anti-diarrhea-based pills, if you're getting sick to your stomach, all of those could potentially damage the mitochondria. Muscle relaxants, I didn't name that on my list. So muscle relaxants such as a Flexeril can damage the mitochondria. Opioid, pain-based medication. Hopefully you're not on any opioids, but all of those can damage the mitochondria. And the last one on the list are anti-seizure or epilepsy-based medications. Those over time could damage your mitochondria, leading to low energy. So there you have it. Those are the lists. What I want to do right now is give you the links to these pages at StephenCabral.com/2958. I will link up a couple of labs as well that you can take right at home to be able to check your vitamin levels, your mineral levels. That can also lead to fatigue. So I don't want to blame it all on, conventional medicine and drugs, but do know that those specific medications and drugs that were listed here today have been clinically proven to weaken those mitochondria over time, leading to more inflammation, leading to less energy in both the body and the mind. Hopefully this was helpful. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for the support. Please do feel free to leave a comment below if this was helpful, or if you have any additional questions or ideas for future shows. Leave them right in those comments. We read every single one. We appreciate you. We thank you. Have an amazing rest of the day. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.